Yep.
So we need to check.
And that's where ethics come in. It's unethical for you to be treating a couple like that if you can't be honest.
And these are the things that you get in your intake, and these are the things that you establish very early on. That's why I say, is there any violence? Is there any abuse? Because abuse comes in many forms: spiritual, sexual, emotional, mental, financial, absolutely. If those things exist, I am not the therapist for you, let me refer you. So in your intake form, when they fill it out, usually before, what's the reason for coming, you'll see. There's this website, there's two. There's one called Thumbtack, and there's one called Thurvo, and they have different services. But I'm on Thurvo for marriage counseling, and it'll say, you know, Johnny W. in Miramar needs marriage counseling. And when they send me the listing, it says what's going on. It'll say, oh, infidelity, or trust issues, or communication, relationship building, like that. And usually you'll get a synopsis, and you'll see. If you see trust or things like that, you might need to follow up before you book the appointment, you know, so that you can make sure that it's a couple that you wanna work with. And same as individual counseling, but with couples specifically, because all of us are rehashing our childhood traumas in the couples that we're gonna see, all of us. So.
What happens in family counseling then?
Same thing.
So the therapist is?
It's usually circular, and you let, that's a great question, by the way, it's more systems theory. And so what you do is you let the family sit where they want, and then you sit down.
I had two therapists like that, but they always sided with my mom, always. And that ended so bad for me, because I felt like I was being attacked by my own therapist.
Okay, that's the worst
Yeah.
thing. That is the worst thing. And there's so much bad therapy being done. But in a systems theory, you set up the chairs, you let the family sit where they want, because it's going to tell you the dynamic of the family members, where everyone is sitting. It's like the other day when I gave you the shoes and I said put the shoes anywhere in the room. It's kind of like that. Where you choose to sit, what alliances there are, is very telling in a systems theory. And then the therapist will sit whatever chair is left. Unless there's clearly a therapist chair and you set up the circle. But you're seeing where people are seated.
Do the therapists, like in couple counseling, does it work the same, where the family has to work together?
Okay, so what usually happens in systems in a family counseling is that there's one patient. And I don't believe in that. So one person will be the sick person. So this person, let's say Sally, is depressed. And the family's there to work on Sally's depression. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Sally is the patient that they've decided, or that Sally herself has decided to be the patient for the family, to get them to all work on their issue.
Oh no, that's
Usually what you're going to encounter.
I had that happen actually after the state took me away. Because the state took me away at 12. And then I was placed with my dad, well, who I thought was my dad. And he swore for the longest time that I was the problem. He said, I know you were abused, this and that, but you're creating a lot of havoc for my marriage and for my household. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? In my head, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
I
about?
need to talk to you before you leave, James, or you?
So I ended up going to this therapy, and the therapist was like, you're actually fine. You're going through what a child who's been taken away from the state is going through, you know? And I think we need to see the whole family. So try to express to your dad, you know, I want to see, you know, everyone as a family or whatever. So when I told him, he said, no, you're just like your mother, you're just crazy. I'm like, okay. And that's how the family therapy ended up. He didn't go, he kept trying to send me to go, and the therapist is like, there's nothing I can do here for you except help you along, you know, from the abuse you went through, but we need your father here. And he was just too arrogant. He sat there and he said, nope, I'm not going.
Well, it's
There's a
very
pattern.
typical that there is the patient in the system, and a good therapist will identify that that person is not a patient, rather the presenting symptom of the whole system that's broken.
And that's what it was, and it turned out his wife was mad that I was taken away and ended up in their house because she wanted all his attention for herself. You know, that's what ended up coming out for her and her son, not for me to be there.
So we can definitely do some more couples and system stuff,
Yeah.
if that interests you guys, because that's important. Is it time?
And there's a